Hello, this is going to be a short video on circles. As you can see below, I have a circle. The distance from the center of the circle right here to the edge of the circle is called the radius. Draw a little line here to kind of show it to you. This would be the radius, called R. The distance all the way across, going through the center, I'm going to draw it just a tad underneath so you can see it. That would be the diameter from this end all the way across to that end. It's the diameter. The diameter is twice the radius. The radius is half the diameter. Okay, so this is basically formula driven. The distance around the circle, is called the circumference. And the circumference is equal to 2 pi r. Pi is a constant that's equal to the circumference divided by the radius, which is about 3.14. You can find a more accurate, it's an irrational number. It really has no end to it. We can find it on our calculator. On this particular calculator, we have a pi key. And if I hit equal, you can see pi is carried out quite a few decimal points. Sometimes people remember pi to like 100 decimal places or whatever. But for the most part, we usually use it as 3.14. Or they might give you a value to use. So this is a more exact value, but 3.14 is usually sufficient. The area of a circle, the area inside here, we can draw this a little darker. The area inside that circle is pi times r squared. When these don't have time signs, they mean times. So this is pi r squared. And that's basically the information we need about a circle. That's all there really is to it. So we're going to take a look at our book and see if we can try to do some of these examples and calculate them out. So on page, starting on page 558, the first question is, it says, you have a diameter of 4.0, and it wants to know what is the radius and the circumference. The diameter is 4. We just put it as 4. And it wants to know the radius. Well, the radius would be half. Whoops, there. Losing stuff here. The radius would be half of that. It's half of 4, which is 2. So if this was in inches, this would be 2 inches. Okay, the circumference is equal to 2 pi r. So if you have the diameter, you want to find the radius, just cut it in half. Divide it by 2. Same thing. You can just divide this by 2. So the circumference is equal to 2 times pi times the radius, which in this case is 2. So the circumference is, and I'm going to use my calculator, but I'm not going to use the pi key. I'm going to hit 2 times 3.14 times 2. Because some of you probably don't have a pi key. So 2 times 3.14, I'm just going to put it in an area here where you can see a little bit better. And we're hit equals, and that'd be about 12.56. And if this was in inches, let's say it is inches, then that would be just inches. Let's suppose we wanted to find the area. The area would then be pi r squared. So we always want to start out with the formula. So the area would be 3.14 times 2 squared. So the area is 3.14 times 2 squared could be 2 times 2. 2 times 2. So that would be 12.56. This is a coincidence that they both came out the same. That normally won't happen. But this would be inches squared. So let's try another one. Okay. Let's see what we can do. We'll get rid of that. Okay. So let's try one that's a little bit more interesting. We're not going to do all this fancy stuff that they got in here. And then on page 462, they have the area of a circle. I want to show you this. We're just going to use this basic one, pi r squared. You can get into these formulas, but we really don't need this. Most people are just going to use this one, keep it simple. Let's not make it all totally confusing. I mean, it's confusing enough. We don't have to confuse ourselves. We don't need this. Just convert the diameter to radius, and you got it made. So let's try one here. Let's see if they got one that we could try. Okay, here's a circle. It has a diameter 8 inches. Okay, so it's very simple to figure out the radius. The radius is half that, 4 inches. 8 divided by 2. That's all there is to it. Okay, let's find the circumference just for the heck of it. Circumference is 2 pi r, and the area is pi r squared. So we have two formulas here, very simple to use. Circumference is 2 times pi times 4. Let's put it into our calculator. Square this out. 2 times pi, 3.14. And if they ask you to use, further out, we could times 4. We're using the radius. Equals 25.12 inches. Okay, area is pi, 3.14, times the radius, which we calculated to be 4, squared. So area equals, and we could square that right away. 4 times 4 is 16. So it's 3.14. But if you don't do that, you could just take 4 times 4. Just like that. And that will give you 50.24 inches squared. So just that easy. Okay. We don't want to make it, we're not going to worry about rings and all that stuff. I am going to look at a couple of problems here. Okay. Here I have a problem. Looks like a rectangle. And then the end of it is a circle. And we want to find out the area of this thing. So this is 9 inches, according to the book. This is 24 feet, I guess this is. And we want to find out what's the total area here. So the area is equal to, we're going to figure out the area of a rectangle. Area is equal to length times width. And that would be, area is 9 times 24. So 9 times 24 is, bingo, 216. And this would be feet squared. Now we're going to try to find out the area of the circle. The area of the circle is pi r squared. Well, we know what pi is, 3.14. But what about this radius? Okay, what about this? Well, we know this distance right here is 9. If it's 9 here, it's 9 here. And then half of 9. 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. So the radius is going to be 4.5 squared. Okay, so on my calculator, I could do it two different ways. 3.14 times 4.5, and I could hit my x squared key on this calculator. It's down here. That would square it, but not always have this kind of a calculator, so I'm going to hit times 4.5 again. And this would, how many places I want to go out, I don't know. Maybe 1 decimal place is all I got, because this only went out 1 decimal place. So let's call it 63 point, and I'm going to round this up, this 5/8 to a 6. Sorry, I wrote this all over my calculator. Okay, 0.6. We'll clean that off. We won't be able to do much with this. Just put a drop here. Come on. Okay, there we go. See if I can get that off. Smudge. You have to work a little harder on that. I should have been more careful. All right. So it's about 63.6, and this would be feet. This was just feet squared, yeah. So now the total area is going to be the sum of these two. The area of the rectangle, 216. The area of the square circle, 63.6. We're add them together, 9, 7, 2. 279.6 feet squared. So this, we'll call this total area. We'll put area with a little t, total area. Just that easy. Here's another one. And we want to calculate this. And this is 12.8. 12.8. 12.8. Wow. Let's see if we can get that. Okay, so we got to kind of go back in our book. This is an equilateral triangle. And I remember something about an equilateral triangle being 1.72 or something like that. Let's see if we can find this one. This is on page, I was wrong, page 541. And the area of a equilateral triangle is equal to 0.433 times a squared, which would be this distance. So area of the triangle is 0.433 times 12.8 squared. Okay, so we could do that real quick. Square this 0.433. Boy, I didn't even come close today. Let's put it up here. 0.433 times 12.8 times 12.8. So that came out to be 70. We'll carry 2 places, 0.94. Okay, round it off. We could even go 1 if we wanted to. Okay, now the circle. Well, again, this is the diameter. The diameter is 12.8. So we want half of that. Looks like 6.4. That'll be our radius. So area of a circle, pi r squared. So we're going to take 3.14 times, trying to find a good spot for this, times, what is it? 6.4 times 6.4. And we come up with 128. I'm going to write that down. area equals 128.61. So now all we got to do is add those together, 70.94, 128.61, and we should get our answer, 15, 15, 9. Got to be able to read it. This was 9 and nothing carried, so this is 9 and 1. Double check it, 5, 15, 9, 9, 1. So 199.55, almost 200. Just a little tad under 200. And that will be the area of this combined. And this was in, I didn't put a unit, it was actually in centimeters. So this would be centimeters squared. This was centimeters squared. This was centimeters squared. So we had to find the area of the triangle, the area of the circle, put them together, we get the total. So I hope you like this little short video. Try some of these problems. It shouldn't be too hard, hopefully.